up, y'all? So, what you are about to witness right now is a profiling session that I did with my friend Shalena. Now, Shalena is honestly a very dear friend of mine. She has BPD. Because of that, actually, I profiled her a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And I was still, like not really like certain. I was between one or two types. And I guess my misunderstandings of BPD at the time kind of like influenced the way that I was like, seeing the profiling session. Whereas like now, I had my friend Joyce Meng come onto the call so that she could be like more of an unbiased ear. I didn't tell her what I thought that Shalena was. So what you're about to witness is me reprofiling Shalena with Joyce's help, and figuring out what type that she is. And like I said, she is an actual like friend of mine and everything, and she is a Jungian. So she's most familiar with Carl Jung's original archetypes and definitions for all the cognitive functions and stuff of that nature. So due to this, she's always kind of like identified as a Jungian INFJ, um, which could be different from a Myers Briggs type, or could be the same. But yes, regardless, I hope that y'all enjoy this session. Just wanted to give y'all a little bit of backstory on how that is, and let's see if you guys can guess what type that she is before the end of the video.
Cool. So the first question I'm gonna ask you is, what are things that you love to do? And when I say that you love to do, I mean that you love to do so much that the only reason why you stop is because you're absolutely exhausted. Otherwise, you'd go on indefinitely.
Eat.
And you can be as honest as possible. Joyce is not judgmental. She has no reason to judge
Okay.
anyway.
That's cool.
Don't let her
Eat.
innocent space
I
be.
like to eat. Denzel.
Yes, got that done.
So eat. I love listening to music. I like recording music. I like listening to music. I like dancing. I like, to be honest with you, I'm just like any physical activity. I don't care if it's sports, dancing. If as long as I'm active, I don't like sitting around. And if I am sitting around, I'm either texting or like playing a game or something like that. I don't like to have my mind idle. So that's the one thing I absolutely don't like. But yeah, I would say eating, and yeah, eating just is the only thing that's coming to mind right now. I love to eat and watch movies maybe. But like, yeah, eating and physical activities, I'll just put it that way. So I won't leave anything out.
Got you. Okay. Do you also like cook and stuff too, or you just consume?
I love to cook, yeah, but it's like that goes into physical activities in my opinion. I like to cook. I like coming up
Mm,
with new recipes. Um, Cooking, eating, dancing, creating music, anything that's physical, playing sports, anything that's physical, even if I'm putting something together, anything that has to do with my hands or whatever, or consuming food or drinks or whatever it is, anything in that realm, I like doing.
got you. Okay. Got you. Would you say that you've always been that way?
Yes and no. I went through phases in and out my life. Like as a kid, I wasn't like that. It's weird because
Mm,
I changed throughout my life. Like my personality has changed throughout my life.
definitely
But
tell
as a
us about
child,
your phases.
huh? As a child, I wasn't like that.
Definitely
As a
tell us
child,
about your phases. Yeah.
yeah, as a child, I was extremely quiet. Um, I read a lot and I was imaginative, but like there wasn't really nothing to me as a child, really.
Mm.
And then when I
What
was a
types of?
teenager, sorry,
Mhm.
go
No, go
ahead. What were we
ahead.
gonna say?
I was
As
just
a
gonna ask
teenager,
you, like, what types of things that you read.
I started reading about astrology
Mm.
um, as a child, around 9 years old. Um, and then, like, I would read the Bible from front to back as a kid. That was a hobby. Um, just stuff like that. I can't really think of anything else, but like, because that astrology was very thick, so it was a lot to read. And of course, the Bible is. Um, oh yeah, goosebumps and stuff like that, like a regular child. Uh, but yeah, and then as a teenager, things changed. I actually excelled in government, American government. I was in advanced government and biology and English as well. And I actually went to the capital, Tallahassee, and met Charlie Crist. And I was huge on history. I liked history. I got good grades. Um, I was also in the choir at church, and I was in chorus. I was in the book club, and I became the president of the writers club at my school as well.
Wow.
And guess what? I was voted over a boy. So, and
Nice.
that was crazy. It was crazy because it was a predominantly white school too, and the boy
Whoa.
wasn't black either.
So you're a
But
writer.
yep, hence now I
Okay.
write mental health blogs and stuff like that. So, but yeah,
Got you. Got you. Would you say that writing is also one of those things that puts you in flow, or maybe not as much?
it's writing what now?
Like how I asked you the flow question of like, what do you love to do so much that you get exhausted, that you wouldn't get
I don't
exhausted
like
from?
to write. I feel like I have to write
Gotcha.
because I don't like to be on camera a lot because I hate myself. Like you know how I feel about how I look, like I want surgery and stuff. But
Mm,
if I only write because I don't make YouTube videos, like if I didn't care about the way I looked, I would probably be a YouTuber, a successful YouTuber at this point. But I write blogs because I have no choice. Like if I was a public
gotcha.
speaker and didn't have anxiety, that'd be different. But yeah, writing gets annoying after a while, to be honest
Gotcha.
with you.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Okay. Gotcha. But you are good at it though. That's how
Thank
you
you.
became like president. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was saying that you are good at it, but also I was asking a question. Like I was asking if you like to confirm, like you would agree that you are good at it.
Um, I think I can improve. I'm okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Gotcha. And
Being the president of the Writers Club was more about leadership and directing the group and what we should be writing about and what we should be focusing on and stuff like that.
mm,
Uh, people in high school, people look to me to lead places. I'm that leader bitch, you know. So I got that gene. So it was more about that, not necessarily who was the best writer, but more so about who carried that gene of a leader and that aura of a leader.
Mm.
gotcha. Okay. Cool. And would you say that's all of your phases, or were you gonna describe a bit more? I think you were gonna say
No,
something like as a teenager.
no. And then I was kind of rebellious by middle school, and then by high school, I dropped out of school because I was doing really good in school, and then I moved across the country back to Arizona, and I lost all my credits. And I was told that in 12th grade, mind you, oh, well, you're going to have to repeat and you're going to be back. You're going to be in school until 22 years old. I'm like, fuck that. So I dropped out. I got my GED this like within 2 months and I got a job or whatever.
Nice.
And in my early 20s, I was a fucking asshole. I mean, holy shit. For some reason, I started speaking my mind and speaking up because I was quiet as a child. And then I just started speaking up. People used to beg me to talk when I was little. But then when I got like into my late teens and early adulthood, people would tell me to shut up now because I talk too much. But I was hella rude, like between the ages, I would say I was kind of rude at 14, but I would say between the ages 21 and like 25, I was an asshole and people didn't like me because I would just say stuff. I wasn't trying to be rude, but I would just say stuff. And the one thing that made me start trying to be more tactful was one time a guy that I was talking to online, he told me, he was like, oh, you're sexy or whatever. He's like, do you think I am? And I told him no. And he got angry at me and I didn't understand why, because he asked me a question. I'm like, if you don't want to know the answer, don't ask. But but ever since then, no, it wasn't since then. I got a little bit better. that he was like, you ruined my night. Thanks a lot. And I felt a little bad about that. But I think where it really came to a head was I have this thing where I like to debate politics and the Bible, the two things they say you shouldn't debate. I used to go search for Christian forums to debate the Bible. And my mom, as you know, is she's Catholic. She's a Christian. And I was discussing the Bible with her and something didn't make any sense to me. And I was kind of like, question her. She started crying. And after that, I learned to like bite my tongue about certain things. So I started getting better at that. And then the flip side to that, though, is I started feeling like I became a pushover or whatever. And now I'm just like, I bite my tongue so much, especially on the internet, not so much in real life where it's like, it's bad as the internet, but it's like, now I'm really irritable more so in this phase of life because I feel like I have to keep my mouth shut 24/7 while everybody else can say what they want to say. Mostly because I don't want to deal with the issues. But yeah, I think that would sum up all of my phases or whatever.
That helps a lot. Thanks. If we were to go to your closest friends, me not included, how would they describe you?
Yeah, how would you describe me? I'm just playing. Okay, they say outgoing, straightforward, funny, entertaining, talented. These are the things I hear a lot. Assertive. I'm always told I'm wise beyond my years. I don't like that phrase. I think it's dumb.
Why do you think that?
Because I think it's just using your common sense. It's not wisdom, it's common sense. And I feel like a lot of people confuse wisdom with common sense. It's like wisdom is when you apply the insight, not just having common sense. You know what I mean? So when people always told me you're wise beyond your years, I'm like, oh, shut. I don't say that to them. I'm like, it's supposed to be a compliment, but I'm like, I wouldn't seem wise beyond my years if you used your brain a little more. But what was I talking about?
You were describing yourself or how other people see you.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, people say I'm wise or whatever. I'm impatient. I'm very impatient. I'm impulsive. The impulsivity might come from the BPD, but the impatience does not. Just so you know. So I'm impatient. I am fussy. I think my mom would say it, fussy. I've been called rude. I don't think I'm rude, but that's what I think some people would say. I'm trying not to just give the good stuff.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah. Again, this all helps a lot.
Smart. A lot of people tell me I'm smart, but that goes into the wise thing. And I think that's about it. That's all I can think about, unless you can think about some more.
No, that kind of sums up. Well, okay. I think that I would say very creative. Yeah, like extremely creative. And I said insightful. No, I said analytical.
Yeah, I'm analytical.
Yeah.
But that's something I call myself.
Extremely analytical.
That's something I call myself, though, so I didn't want to throw that in there.
Yeah, which is the next question I was going to ask you before I pass it to Joyce. So how would you describe yourself? Like I already wrote down leader, and you don't think that you're rude, which is good because usually when I ask like how would others describe you, I usually also tag on like even if you disagree. So I'm glad that you said that, other people think that I'm rude. Other people think that I'm wise. But for me, I just think I use common sense. And I also think that I'm not rude. So how else would you describe yourself?
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Bomb. I think I'm bomb. Stylish. I agree with people that I'm impatient. I can be apparently I'm aggressive. I forgot to put that in there. People say I have an aggressive energy. Um, I agree that I'm assertive. I agree that I'm impatient, analytical. I think I'm hella creative and talented. Um, I think I'm psychic.
Mm.
Um, I did I say analytical? Yeah, analytical. I'm not going to
Yeah,
say
that is a big one
argumentative.
for you.
People think I'm argumentative, and I'm not going to say that because I know my intent is not to argue with people.
Mm.
But
What is your intent?
if I don't understand something and something's not making sense to me, I will keep going and going and going and going until I understand you or you understand me. Because it's not a matter of agreement. I don't care if somebody disagrees. I just need to know why you're saying what you're saying. Like I need to
Right.
understand why, because that irritates me when I start to get frustrated. Um, when I can't understand where somebody's coming from or where they're not understanding me, I will go like hours in a conversation
Mm.
until we get it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's about it. I can't think of anything else.
Okay. I wanted to ask, what does psychic mean to you?
I mean, psychic, like Miss Cleo, like, no, not Miss Cleo, but like, for example, like, if you were telling me about a friend you had, I would get like images in my mind's eye of it, and then my mind would take over and add its own images. And like, let's say I saw her wearing or him wearing a blue shirt. You didn't tell me the shirt color, but I see it in my mind's eye, and I'm like, was he wearing a blue shirt on that day he hit you? And is he like 6 feet tall? And did he play soccer? And you're like, yeah, yeah, that's him. That happens to me. So, and I used to
Interesting.
give I used to be a professional psychic at 19. So yeah, like I can pick up things about people, like, and I'm very spiritual as well. I have
Right.
I have a spiritual belief rather. So it goes into that whole thing with the whole third eye thing or whatever. So
Mm.
that's what I mean by psychic.
What got you into professional psychic readings?
Money. I needed money. I needed money. I was 19 and me and my sister were sharing an account and we were doing readings and I needed money. I did do it for the money, but I was legit though. I had reviews from it. I need to go find them. But I was legit, but I also needed the money. But I stopped doing it for money and now I just do it for my closest friends when they need it or whatever. So yeah, I don't do it anymore.
Interesting.
By the
Okay.
way, by the way,
Yeah. Mhm.
Denzel, my family, and don't get scared, Joyce. I'm sorry if this scares you, but don't worry. I'm not going to do any weird. I don't do bat spells, but my mom's side of the family, I come from a line of witches. So like we're all psychic. It's like passed down from my grandma, my mom, and all the girls in the family.
Mm.
So yeah, I
Mm.
just thought I'd point that out.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. That really helps color things. Would you say that knowing that is what kind of helped you push into the profession?
My mom, when we were little, would sprinkle salt outside the house and do all this stuff. She actually put it in my mind I'd be an astrologer when I got older. And she
Interesting.
used to like talk to us about demons and the devil and stuff like that. So I took a liking to that as a kid, and as I got older, it's just something I just started putting forth, putting putting to use or whatever. I'm like, okay, wow, I was right about this. I might as well just start giving people readings or whatever. Plus, like I said, I needed money at the time. So I just started doing it for the money, if I'm being honest. But I
Yeah.
stopped doing that that same year. So
Got you. And then last question, and I want to toss it to Joyce for a bit.
okay.
So as you were doing these psychic readings, I mean, I'm not assuming this, but I just want to know to make sure. You said
Okay.
that you were legit, but would you say that like it was originally like I'm just trying to like swindle these people kind of thing? Or was it like, no, I'm actually really good at psychic readings and I just happen to also want money?
Yeah, I don't swindle. I'm not a scammer. I've never been a
Okay.
scammer. So I've always known I was psychic. So I was like, okay, well, I might as well just get money for it. So it's like I'm legit, and I was getting paid to do it at
Got
the
it.
time.
Cool. Thank you, Joyce.
Cool.
And I'm listening, but I'll be right back.
Okay.
It's really awesome that you're psychic. I had a psychic best friend for a majority of my life, so it's really cool stuff. And so I'm wondering, have you ever felt like most women, or have you ever felt a little different than the women around you? Like, I don't know, how much do you feel like you fit the female mold?
Female.
Or
I've
like,
been called. I know what you're saying. I'm laughing because I've got it. I've been told, first of all, that I look like a man, that I got masculine energy, and like the only thing that would bother me about it was that they were trying to be rude, but I actually agree. I'm more masculine than the average female. I also have something called PCOS, which makes me have more testosterone, but that's not the only thing. I think for me, I'm more heady than women. Like, I'm very emotional, but I mean, it's hard to explain. I have more aggressive energy, and so I don't feel like I'm as feminine as other women. It's been an insecurity of mine. I actually considered taking hormones to become more feminine.
yeah, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I think that I might have
Yeah.
that too. I've done some research on it, so I feel you with
Yeah.
that. And so I'm wondering, what are some of, like, if you had a magic wand and you could wave it and make everyone in the world have one trait, what would it be and why?
If I could make everybody in the world have one trait,
Yeah.
the same trait,
If you want, yeah.
that they use, I want to say using their brain a little more, like more analytical, more reasonable.
I love how a lot of your answers are like, these people are kind of a little bit dumb.
Well, because you know the thing to it is, though, I think that a lot of fights also happen because people are not reasonable. They just say stupid stuff, and sometimes it goes into, like, so let's say I just walked out the door and started picking on Denzel for no reason. No reason. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden we're fist fighting and we're both in jail because I said something dumb for no damn reason. And a lot of people are like that. So it's, to me, to be frank, yes, I do. I don't think I'm an Einstein or anything like that, but I do think that the majority of society are kind of dumb. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah.
Yeah.
And
What is
maybe
your
I'm sorry, let me just say I'm dumb in other areas. Like, I'm not book smart, but I mean your God given common sense dumb. I feel like society lacks that.
They really do. I'm one of those people.
You don't
And
seem like it.
oh, thank you. And so I'm wondering, what is your relationship with bossiness?
You mean, am I bossy, or my relationship to bossy people?
Both.
I'm a little bossy, so you're not gonna boss me around. I'm the one that bosses people. Like, I'm a little bit. I would say I'm more controlling than bossy, but somebody thinks they're gonna boss me around. You better be my man or something. And even at that, like, I don't like, I feel like for somebody to think they're gonna boss me around is a joke. That's how I feel about it. I don't really hate bossy people, but they don't, we bump heads because I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah. Battle for leadership. Who's gonna win?
Yeah, and it's also independence for me. I'm gonna do what I want to do. So, and it's like, and a lot of times I think that I have a vision for things and how they should be and go. So it's like, if I'm in the same room, somebody's like, we're gonna have this today, and I'm like, no, I think we should have this because A, B, C, and D. It's like, I'm at the end of the day, I'm gonna get what I want, or we're both gonna find a way where we both get it, because that's just the way it is, you know. And a lot of times I feel like I know better in a situation. I don't know. I have confidence in my ideas, so to speak.
That's something that's very, very valuable. Um, and so I'm wondering, in terms of living, and I guess what part of living would you find to be the easiest thing to do, and what is the most draining part about being a human?
Okay, the easiest thing to do is to, I'll say, breathe. maybe eating.
All right. Yeah.
The hardest thing is having about living is the entire thing. Living.
Mm,
I mean, like the society we live in, the powers that be, the way that the system works. Um, I want to say I'm irritable about people.
mm-hmm.
I guess for me, the hardest thing about living is people not accepting you for you being human.
Mm,
Like they say stupid stuff about just human traits. Like if I cry, they're like, "Oh, emotions are weak," and it's like it's human. Just like thoughts are human, emotions are human. Uh, Sex is being human. Um, like I that irritates me. I would say being human, being crucified for being a human being is the hardest thing about being alive.
that's beautiful. Finger snaps. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about the system. What
Okay.
particularly do you not like about the system?
I mean, like the way, because I feel like the government's lying to everybody. Like, so it's like that. I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I've been that way since about 2008. But it's like the government lies. Celebrity culture is ridiculous, meaning that fans worship celebrities and like literally harass and cancel everybody. Like it's just so damn stupid. Like the whole thing. And I feel like the system from the top, I feel like the powers that be, which I don't think is Joe Biden or Donald Trump or anybody like that. I think it's the people that control them. Um, but like basically, I feel like it's all set up that way on purpose to keep people dumb, so they can keep on using us as slaves, and we're all a part of it. Even I am, as much as I hate it. Even I'm contributing to the system, so it's like you can't get out of it. It's like I just wish everybody would wake up and just decide, you know what, we're not doing this anymore. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, overnight it's not going to change. And so I'm wondering, what is the ideal day for you? If you could imagine that. All the money in the
Ideal
world.
to,
Yeah.
uh, I want to be rich. I feel like the ideal day would be I have like $27 million, and then I'm doing what the hell I want to do from there on out. I can't tell you what I'm going to do because it depends on the day, but it's like something I do want to do is like be a year-round Santa Claus, or I'm just buying people random stuff, whether it's paying their rent, buying them a PlayStation 5 or whatever. I want to be a that's one of my things. And then I would love to chase tornadoes for the rest of my life and live at Disney World. That's something I would do. Eat foods that I like, eat Red Lobster for the rest of my life. Um, it's just stuff, you know. But the ideal day for me would be a day where I have $27 million in the bank.
That's
Otherwise, I'm just making do with what I have, making the
that's the
best
way
out of
to
what I
live.
have.
That makes sense. So what about chasing tornadoes appeals to you? Would you ever be afraid of dying?
No, uh, sorry if this is too heavy for you, but I deal with suicidal thoughts anyway. Not now, by the way. I'm fine right now, but I mean, I battle severe depression, so I live on the edge, anyways. But I like thrills, roller coasters, tornadoes, all that. And so, no, I wouldn't be afraid I was going to die, especially if I knew the direction of the tornado, which I have a natural instinct of knowing where storms are going, the directions of them or whatever. So, no, I wouldn't be afraid. And if I died, if I would, if I had to go out anyway, it would be through a twister, and maybe I land in Oz. Who knows?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a joke. You were supposed to laugh.
Oh, I was.
Like the Wizard of Oz, like Dorothy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's quick and witty. Um, and I'm wondering, what are some could you ever have like a desk job where you're just doing the same thing in the same order, in the same sequence, but you have 27 million dollars because of this desk job? Or would you rather have a job that's a little less predictable, but you don't have like that secure income there? Which one sounds like more of a nightmare?
I prefer the desk job with the $27 million.
You just really want the money. I
Yes,
feel
the
like
money. I am. Money is
um,
lit.
what are your favorite types of coworkers when you have, I don't know, you go with places, or your favorite type of people? What are traits that attract you to friends, and what are traits that repulse you from people?
To friends, I like people who have something to say all the time. It's kind of awkward when, even if it's just a chill person, I don't like people who are horrible at communication. Like if I'm talking and they're dry as hell, like I can't do it. It's so awkward because I'm excessive as hell. I have a lot of energy. I need you to pick up some of that. I need you to take some of that energy from me. So I would like for a person who always has an opinion, or who will always be sharing their opinion or something like that. Unless we're chilling or whatever, listening to music or smoking or whatever. I can tell you what I don't like. I don't like a dumb bitch who is just a hater. Like if I'm out, which I run into people like this all the time, like saying something about my outfit, just rolling their eyes, having an attitude for no reason, bringing down the vibe. Because if I go out, I'm out to enjoy myself. I'm hanging out with people. I like to enjoy myself. I like to talk. I like to have nice, chill, civil conversation. And then you got people who are all everything, or somebody who's like talking shit for no reason. So I don't like those kind of people, and I don't really get along. I hope it's not offensive, but I don't really get along with us. How can I put this? Touchy social justice types people, because I need to have a real discussion. We need to understand each other instead of like, I don't like that, which is why I don't ever talk about politics anymore. So yeah, I don't like people who are always touchy. That's not the company I want to keep. Like if I have a disagreement with them about something, like if they say, "Oh, I believe in abortion rights," and I'm like, I'm anti-abortion, but do you? Do you shouldn't? A woman has a right. I don't like people like that. It's annoying.
It really is annoying because they can't think rationally. I agree. They just kind of a ball of reactivity, and they won't have a reasonable discussion. And so I'm wondering, do you find you make decisions based on your rationality or your logical brain, or do you make decisions according to your heart and what feels right? Okay, so that might be too overgeneralized. I can also give another question if that's, yeah.
It's kind of a hard question to answer because oftentimes to me they go hand in hand. So like it's like sometimes what is logical goes into the heart, and vice versa. So like for instance, let's say it would be in my best interest to do something in mine only. Like let's say I would make more money being your friend or whatever, but also it's like I like to, hold on, that's not a good example. I'm trying to think of it because this happens to me a lot. Okay, for instance, I have the knowledge that if I was to say something rude right now, it would hurt your feelings and probably cause a disagreement between us, right? I like to talk to people. So it wouldn't be smart for me to go around saying that. Number one. Number two, didn't do anything to me. So while that's logical, it also benefits the relationship. So I'm like, it's hard to separate the two. most of the time for me. Now, when you're talking about my own decisions as far as eating, what kind of food I'm going to eat and stuff like that, sometimes logic, neither thinking or the heart comes into it. It's just sensual pleasures or whatever I feel like doing or want to do or whatever.
Okay. That
I think finding the ways to get it, it might go into that, or like, I don't know, but
makes sense, makes sense. And so I'm wondering, with your hobbies, I'm just going to make up a few hobbies as an example. Let's say if you're into crochet, or if you're into photography, or if you're into some whatever hobby it is, do you need to have a productive goal, like an end goal that you need to meet to make the hobby worthwhile, or is just the sensation or the process of it fulfilling enough for you? Or do you feel like everything you do has to have like an end goal?
who has who has hobbies that have to have an end goal?
You'd be surprised.
That's weird to me. That's just weird to me. I would say the other one. Like, who does that? I would think that's more serious work would need a goal. Like, but I mean, you can turn your hobby into money. But yeah, I picked the other one.
That's really helpful. Okay, cool. And so I'm wondering,
Y'all are laughing a lot over there. Am I really that funny?
you are, yeah. It's because you say things very bluntly, so you'll just say,
Yeah, that's what my family says. Yeah, okay. I was just wondering. I'm like, y'all over there laughing at every answer I give. I'm like
you're unafraid to just say the truth. So you're like,
right.
yeah, I do it for the money. And me and Denzel, we
I
never
mean,
hear things that straightforwardly. So
right. That's what my family says.
Yeah. I'm actually pretty settled on a type, but Denzel, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty settled on the type two. Um, but yeah, I think that the last few questions that I'd ask is what are some things that are obvious to you but not obvious to other people? And then, vice versa. Like some things that are obvious to other people but not usually obvious to you.
Most of the time, the things that are obvious to me that are not obvious, that don't seem obvious to other people, is objective reasoning in a sense where it's like things are just what they are. And it seems like people get mad at that or just for the life of them can't understand it. And most of the times I find myself like, what the heck is what? You know?
Mm.
And then I guess the thing that I miss, because this is a blind spot for me, is why people get offended with me when
Mm.
so I guess it goes hand in hand, but that's the thing I struggle with the most, that people read me wrong. Or that maybe I just have a blind spot, or both, I guess.
Mm. Got you. Which, by the way, when you were younger, you said that you were really quiet and everything. Do you have any idea as to why you might have been? Like, were you looking at everyone and thinking, "Ugh, y'all are all idiots? Or was it like
I was
you were just
scared.
shy?
It
You were
was
scared.
anxiety. I had
Okay.
painful, really bad anxiety. I still have anxiety these days, but I can talk, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
Got
was
you.
anxiety.
Okay. Do you ever spend time, like, what would you say that you think the most about? The present, the future, and the past?
What I think, do you mean spend more time thinking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
I study the past because of nostalgia, and I love music from the past and different things from the past. But I think, and I, and sometimes I talk about the future. I can't answer that because I want to say all three of them are equal for me.
Got you. Okay. No, that's good to know. Um, what is your threshold? This one's, yeah, I'm really curious about this one. What's your threshold for very abstract, conceptual, philosophical conversations?
I like philosophical conversations, but the abstract, I don't know. Sometimes that makes me feel dumb. Like if it gets too abstract, to the point where it's like some Einstein type shit. um, I get lost and I'm not interested anymore. Like I like questions like, okay, do you believe in God, religion, philosophical stuff like that, or like a way to live your life, blah blah. But when you start getting into like quantum physics and stuff like that, I can't. That's too complicated for me.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Would you say then, because something that, just because I'm your friend, then
Mm-hmm.
I know that, like, I'm aware of this or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You consider yourself to be like a starseed. Um, do you know what a starseed is, by the way, Joyce?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. A starseed to me, that's not abstract in my opinion, but I guess it
Okay.
depends on what you mean by the word abstract. But to me, it's just a spiritual belief. Joyce, a starseed is basically somebody who's, if you believe you have a spirit, your spirit incarnated elsewhere in the universe or in another dimension before you got to Earth. So basically, we never die because our spirit lives on. We just change clothes, and the body representing the clothes, or the clothes representing the body rather. So basically we believe that our spirit incarnates in different areas of the universe over and over again, so we can learn different lessons or add data or whatever to our spiritual DNA and stuff like that. So yeah, and to me that's just spirituality. I don't look at that as like a philosophy or any kind of like abstract thing. It's just kind of straightforward spirituality. Whereas what I'm when I say abstract, when you say abstract, I think about like computers and science and stuff like that. Like when people talk about quantum physics and all that other kind of stuff, I don't, or like, yeah, I don't understand that kind of stuff.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Okay. Cool. And I think my final question. So I'm writing down what type I think that you are. I haven't discussed with Joyce yet.
I wrote it
Okay.
down too.
Okay, cool. And my final question is, I know that you have been through almost all of the types in the book. Now, I would
Yeah.
love to like hear your reasoning as to like what type you think, well, you can say at the end of your spiel,
Hmm.
what type you think that we're going to type you as based off of this whole session. But also why you considered so many other types. I feel like that would also save us time from, like,
Okay.
yeah,
So I'm not going to tell you what type I think you guys are going to type me. I'm
okay,
just going to wait for you guys to do it and tell you if I agree or not. But
okay.
were you saying the types I think I might be?
Yeah, yeah, because I know that you,
Um,
like, ever since I've known you, you went from several
yeah.
different ones. Yeah,
So for me, I play with the beta quadra altogether. Whether it's ESTP, ISTP, ENFJ, INFJ, I've just been circling around the beta quadra, and then sometimes I think INTJ, other times I thought ESFP, other times I thought ENTP, INTP, never ESTJ. I thought ISFJ at some point, but for the most part, it's the beta, the NFJs, and the STPs.
okay. Got you. What about the NFJs made you feel like you could be an NFJ?
Um, with the INFJ, it's all the natural psychic stuff, the spiritual stuff, the way that my introverted intuition manifests itself organically, in my opinion. But this is hard to say because I come from a Jungian ow, I just pulled a leg muscle. Sorry.
Mm.
I come from a Jungian background, so I can't really talk about. It's kind of hard to talk about why I thought I was those types because now you guys are MBTI practitioners. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'll just wait. I'll just wait for you guys.
Yeah.
yeah. I was just gonna ask, like, if you, okay, yeah, I was gonna ask, like, if you could explain how the Jungian INFJ looks like and why you, because I know that you identified as that the most ever since I've known you before you started going to like Jungian ENFJ and stuff like that. And
Okay.
then, yeah,
Okay. So briefly, Jungian INFJ is basically the woo-woo people in society, like the witches, the metaphysical, the spiritual metaphysics and all that. So basically, this can go into Christianity too. It's like in the church, it's like the Christians who speak in tongues and give a word to the congregation from the Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? So basically, INFJs and Jungian theory are more like, it's like you're channeling uh, messages about humanity and how to love and stuff through some source. And a lot of them in these Jungian books attribute it to some sort of God or some outer force. Same with INTJ, Jungian INTJ. They're more so philosophical, more so spiritual, and create spiritual systems and stuff like that. Some of them, anyway. Do you want me to talk about the Jungian ENFJ? Well, I thought I was a
Yeah.
Jungian ENFJ. The Jungian ENFJ is a little, they don't even talk about them that much, but they're a little bit, they're more chameleon like, where they can mirror everybody that they talk to, but it's because they know every emotion within themselves and that they identify it in others. And I have to note that I also think that I'm an unhealthy type, whatever type it is. So then I was thinking, okay, well, even if I am an ENFJ, that doesn't mean I have to follow the FE criteria strictly, because Jungian ENFJ, when it's mentally ill, it's more unreliable. They said that they're more unreliable, that they jump from relationship to relationship, which is something I don't do, but they jump from relationship to relationship. They don't take anything seriously, blah, 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 blah. Y'all want me to go through the STPs?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then the ESTP. I thought I was an ESTP because Jungian ESTP, they're tactless. They're greedy, meaning that they love to eat. They were described as tactless, but warm-hearted, meaning had good intentions, but they just, everything came out wrong. But they also have a spirituality to them too, where it's more so horoscopes and astrology and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, that's the kind of stuff I follow. So it's like, maybe my NI is not, maybe it's in the inferior position. I don't know. And then I feel like my extroverted feeling is more so one of my inferior functions, because I don't handle relationships the way an extroverted feeling dominant would. So like, for instance, Denzel might be able to tell somebody about his boundaries because he's a feeling dominant. Whereas for me, it's hard for me to tell people certain things. Like, I don't know, I can't explain it. And then I have an inappropriate feeling function where it's like I get attached to people, and then I'm paranoid about friends and stuff like that. And although that some of that goes in the borderline, it just made me think, okay, it seems like I'm more of an ESTP female than an ENFJ in my head. So when I was thinking ESTP, I was like, okay, I'm an extrovert. I can't be an ENFJ because I'm not like. And then ISTP, those are the times I just think I'm an introverted ESTP. So, and also, hold on, one more thing. TI, because TI has been a thorn in my side since I started studying typology since 2016. Every time, even when I was thinking I was an INFP, which is crazy now that I know more about the functions. TI, it's always been something that I struggled with, where I would go back between INTP and INFP. So with ISTP, the main thing that made me think about I was an ISTP, besides thinking I was an introverted ESTP, is that everything with me relies on my reasoning. Not to say that I'm the most logical person in the world, because I don't equate the thinking function to smart or logic per se. It's more so subjective logic to me. So for me, even my spirituality has to have logical consistency. Otherwise, it gets tossed out. Other people's too. So like, for instance, if Starseeds didn't make any sense to me, I don't care how convicted I feel, my intuition, what images I see. If it made no sense to me, it would get thrown out. That's the other reason why I thought I was an ESTP too, because it seems like I would be putting my thinking function before my intuition.
Okay.
So I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, got you. All right. And there's nothing else that you feel like we should know before we give you our assessment that we may have not asked?
No, besides the fact that I'm mentally ill, but you're talking to me right now. Joyce, I was diagnosed with something called OSDD. At first it was DID, but now my doctor changed it, but basically I have different personalities that come in, like they have their own names and everything, but it's just my brain splits off. So that's why I say you're talking to me, Shalena, right now. You're not talking to anybody else. So that wouldn't matter at this point.
Got you. Thank you. All right, well, Joyce, you can take it away first.
Yeah, this is what I wrote.
Okay.
Same.
I can't see Denzel. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can provide you my reasons for why ESTP. So, conspiracy theories. You mentioned how you're really into conspiracy theories.
Mhm.
That tends to be an ESTP particular type of thing,
Mhm.
and slightly ISTP too, but mostly an ESTP thing. Because one, there's a paranoia around someone taking away your independence in some way, and the system basically. That was one of them. The common sense and the irritability around people who do not have common sense, and then like
Yeah.
having people compliment you, but compliment you on your common sense. You're like, it's so common. Why are you complimenting me? I roll.
Yeah.
My brother is an ESTP, and the rants he goes on with me about how he hates it when people have common sense are real. So I'll give you an example. He's kind of like, Joyce, some people just don't understand what military time is. It's like some of these like idiots don't actually understand how to use military time. So it's a 24-hour clock, and then like he tested me. He's like, all right, Joyce, tell me what this time is. And I'm like, what are you trying to do? He's like, good, you have common sense. Because, some people don't have common sense. And I'm like,
Yeah.
gosh, it's a very ESTP rant about lack of common sense in people. There's also, when you were talking about your emotions or how you make decisions, I saw FETI. So you mentioned how you notice, sometimes people fight over these things that could be prevented. You notice, they start fist fighting, but it was because of this stupid comment someone said to someone else. And if they didn't say that stupid comment, they would not have that fist fight. I'm like, that's actually tertiary FE. Like, it's better than an ISTP's FE, because an ISTP would not comment on that type of situation. But an ESTP would have enough social awareness to go like, man, it's stupid why they're fighting. Because it lacks SE common sense, and two, your FE knows exactly how it could have been prevented in the social dynamic between people. And then your TI is like, that's not rational. That doesn't make sense. I can't believe in things that don't make sense. If I had a magic wand, I would take away all of people's irrational lack of objectivity. That's very TI auxiliary. And your impatience. So impatience is an issue that ESTPs deal with, but not ISTPs. So this is a more ESTP type of issue. Maybe SE tertiaries could also have this, depending on the SE tertiary and how much they lean on their tertiary function. So I tried to ask questions to knock off the SE tertiary types. So I asked you about if you ever do hobbies. Like, do you only have hobbies because it's linked to an end goal and something you want to achieve? And you're like, who does that? Like, that takes out is that human? Because that was my question, to try to figure out if you're an ENTJ. But you had a really strong adverse reaction to that. You're like,
yeah,
foreign to you. And so I'm like, yep, not ENTJ. I asked you a question to see if you were a thinker female. So I asked, do you feel like most women, or like you fit in female stereotypes or gender roles? And you were like, no, I don't. You feel a little more assertive, aggressive, leadery, outspoken, more of these traits associated with men. And typically those traits are actually thinker traits. So being a female who is an ESTP female, you would get called that a lot. And so that also leaned me towards being a thinker, like, because I was like, all right, so, because I was considering like maybe ENFJ, maybe like a rough and rowdy ENFJ.
Yeah.
But I'm like, your own self-perception shows that you're more on the T side. I know, like auxiliary thinking side. The the reason why I would be like not ISTP is one, you seem to have social awareness. ISTPs are a little more awkward, a little less socially aware. Second, your mention of your energy level. So you said that you actually have really high energy and you try to like put that onto other people or something. I forgot the exact comment, but it was something around that. Introverts on a whole will answer that they are either low energy or they're drained easily. And you're like,
yeah, I'm not drained from social interactions.
yeah, and it's very extrovert to say like sometimes you're a little too much for people. That's what I hear a lot from EPs, especially. EPs will say that. And the thing is, like, ESTPs can love spirituality too. I think, especially you mentioned how you liked, was it tarot? I'm not good at recalling tarot or psychology.
All of those. Tarot, astrology, all of those.
Tarot is a very NISE type of hobby or activity. So I'm like, you use that access somewhere. That's definitely your access. Your hobbies all align with NISE. Yeah, so those are some of my reasons. Also, some of the obvious ones is the things that put you into your flow state are eating, physical activities, and hurricane chasing.
Tornado chasing.
Tornado chasing.
Y'all wouldn't want to go tornado chasing?
I'd rather have an abstract conversation about what it would be like to.
Oh, okay. Y'all laughing about that. I'm like, well, it's fine. It would be fun.
I actually would probably, I would never do that on my own. But funny enough, I'm seeing how this is because it's my type. I would do that simply because I enjoy our friendship. And so it's like, yeah, sure. Just
so you
like
die with me. So you risk your life because of the friendship. So if I drag, well, you just
if you said that we should jump into a lion cage, that would be different. But tornado chasing, I mean, the way that I'm envisioning it, and maybe this is why, I'm not seeing it properly, but the way I'm envisioning it is like, it's not as dangerous. We're at a safe enough distance where we can see it, but if you're chasing it, like you're like within maybe 5 feet from it, maybe I won't join you.
Okay, I'm just making sure because not that it's ever going to happen unless I get that $27 million, but you.
Yeah.
Your level of like straightforwardness, and you call it tactlessness. I find it really amusing.
That's what my dad called me.
Yeah. When you say that you say things that offend people, that's very like TP. Like all the TP types are so honest and straightforward that they offend people.
Yeah. That's annoying.
Yeah. So for me, I agree. Like that was also the type that I had been thinking. So last time that I profiled you as ESFP, and I have to find those notes. I know that they're in my boxes somewhere because we moved and all of that. But I profiled you as ESFP, and I think that we were going back and forth between ESFP and ESTP. And one of the biggest things that you kept on saying was like, I mean, I guess I could see ESFP, but like, I don't have any morals. And I'm like, well, FI auxiliary, like it's not all about morals. Like people still, they skip over, sometimes. Like I know a lot of ESFPs who like do things just because they're in SETE mode kind of thing.
Right.
But FI is also about like, like really deep feeling and like, and self-expression, which I still view you as like someone who's like very self-expressive and you prioritize that. And so that was like the FI that I was potentially seeing. And you do, in my opinion, sometimes, and now I know better, it's like most likely the BPD, but you are often like very emotional, like and you're sensitive, from my opinion, like again, could also be the BPD. So I'm like, yeah, like I could see you like being like a feeler. But yeah, I was like, I don't think that from what we talked about that you are an INFJ. However, I also do know that, ever since I've known you, you've been one of the most intuitive people that I know. interestingly, because you've introduced me to a whole bunch of like super NI topics and abstract concepts and like the things that we talk about. It's like, wow, like, yeah, you even to the point where like Jamila, she every time I say like, yeah, I'm wondering if Shalena is like an ISTP or ESTP, and Jamila is like, she is not a censor.
Yeah.
and like the other day, I was like, I feel like Shalena's probably an ESTP, and she was like, the girl who thinks that she's an alien.
That's not even
Like,
the way it does. That's not even how it works.
yeah, and yeah, she was like kidding, but like the all of that to say is that like the way that I viewed you at least, or continue even to view you, is like you're very like intuitive in the way that you think. But when we do like a full on profiling session and everything like that, I definitely see like SE over NI, for mainly like all the reasons that, Joyce had like stated. I'm glad that you clarified that you just had anxiety when you were younger, and it wasn't like like something that actually might have been leading to like introversion, and it seems like you feel like your most self when you are like being like extroverted and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You are, you're a leader. You see yourself as like assertive. You don't allow people to like assert themselves on you. I feel like your SE also comes out like in several different ways. Like, you just love to dance. You've always been someone who like plays with like style and like fashion and stuff of that nature. You are really good with like making your music and everything like that, and like kind of like even like rapping, and like you listen to
Yeah.
all different types of music, and like you like to play with that in certain ways. You you enjoy cooking and stuff like that. I feel like it was pretty also like easy because you said like like something that's obvious to you is like objective reasoning and stuff like that, which you often talk about. But then sometimes you do like feel like you lack tact. So sometimes like crap, like I need to really do better. And from what I'm picking up, which I think like in every profiling session I give like a tidbit or two of coaching. What I'm picking up is that you are harming yourself because even though you've developed your TI, in my opinion, you've developed it enough to where it's like I said, you're very analytical. And I personally think you have a really good TI. But I think that
I don't.
the places the places that you're at, it's restraining for you. And so it's
Yeah.
it's like me, like if I'm like, when I was younger as an ENFJ, I felt like I couldn't really let my NI shine as much because the people around me didn't really like appreciate it. Imagine
Yeah.
a TI auxiliary. It's like I just literally want to speak my mind. Like, and especially, with mental illness and everything like that, it's like you deactivate your Twitter like every 24 hours.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you'll create like a new one.
Period.
Yeah. And then it's like you'll go through phases where it's like one moment you're like, man, I can say whatever I want. It's my Twitter. And I'm like, yes, Shalena, say whatever you want, post whatever you want. If people don't like it, it doesn't matter. Just like let them unfollow you, whatever. But then you'll go right into your tertiary FE. It's like, why do people unfollow me? Or, again, like I know the BPD probably has to do with that, but it's like,
It's the
it's like
internet. I'm not like that in real life. It's just online. So
got you.
that's what it is. It could be
Yeah.
it could be a perception being skewed by the internet because it's not even in real life. That's why I got back to just doing me. I'm trying to bridge the gap between online and my real life, bring my real life personality on the internet because I don't give a fuck about none of that shit in real life.
Yeah.
Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. I just wanted to
Yeah.
say
No,
that.
that's exactly that's helpful because like I think that in that case, like as long as you're continuing to allow yourself to give space for like just straight TI thoughts about things, then go ahead and do that. Like even for me, like like I have my Candid Concepts Twitter page now where I've been practicing putting out like my TI thoughts. I'm still working on it. But yeah, like I've been practicing like putting stuff out there so that I don't have to worry about who's gonna see this and what are they gonna think. And for me, that's like the intimate side of me, like the stuff that you say out loud and you feel like you get judged for. For me, it's
Mhm.
like if I can say that with people, then that means I feel like I'm really close with them. But I think that for you, even though that you can feel like you're close with them that way, I think that you have more of a need to be able to vocalize such things because TI
Mhm.
is higher for you, and that's healthy for you. You have to be able to
Right.
have people around you to connect with that tertiary FE, but you
Mhm.
also have to be able to connect in the way that you can share these thoughts, even if they disagree. It's like, no, I
Yeah.
can respect that, and I'm not going to be offended by what you say. So,
Mhm.
of course, like you said, that you're in real life, like it's different, but even on the internet, like I would try to like practice like only keeping around like people who like maybe if you need to, you could even have like two Twitter accounts like I do. I have the public one where it's like, yeah, I'll interface with everyone, and then I have my private one where it's like, all right, let's talk about
Yeah, I
stuff
don't
here.
like that. I don't want to do that. I should be able to say what I want to say like everybody else online. And if they get offended, then that's, oh well. I started muting people anyway.
Yep. And I feel like that's higher TI right there. Like, nope, I should just be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
There,
mhm.
yeah, there are a lot of like high TI statements you'll say, like the way that you curse with your sentences, because it's like, well, I should be able to say this.
Yeah.
Very uncensored. A TI higher up is uncensored. The more you have FE higher up, the more you censor yourself, because
Right.
you're like
That
something.
gets draining.
Yeah. So it says that you do have FE, but up to a point.
Yeah, up to a
Yeah,
point that it gets draining after a while having to bite my tongue all the time and talk this way and that way and this way and you can't way. I told people if I was a celebrity, my publicist would be so mad 24/7.
yeah. So yeah, I am confident in ESTP this time around, and I'm glad that Joyce came to that conclusion as well. But I
Well,
do
I
Yeah.
don't
know that
agree
you
with
said that you
y'all.
give us
I don't agree. I'm gonna tell you what type I think. I know I am. I think I'm INTJ.
INFP. Okay.
Right?
You said
Can't you guys see
INTJ.
INTJ? Huh?
I could see that more than
Joyce?
INFP.
No,
No comment.
you guys did a good job explaining yourself. Like I said, I'm not going to come in here and debate it. You guys are the MBTI people. I could see where you would get ESTP. I could see where you get any of them. So it's like I don't have any objections at the moment. You know,
Mhm. Yeah,
I don't have
yeah,
any objections. Now I can rejoin the community online.
Cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Another thing very TI heavy about you is debating, how you like to debate about topics that people
Oh yeah,
typically don't like to talk about, like politics or
Yeah.
religion.
Because I
So,
don't get my feelings involved. It's easier because I'm debating for the sake of the understanding and the information. And
yeah.
most people get into those situations. Ah!
Which either shows high thinking function or being a TP with high TI.
Mhm.
So if you were an FJ, you would never want to kind of debate with people because your
Mhm.
TI sucks and you'd always lose every debate. So you're like, just
Yeah.
like, I try to not get involved when I possibly really can just avoid it. Whereas if you're TP,
yeah,
you're like, let's spar our minds. Let's do it now.
Yeah,
yeah,
I like it. I respect
yeah.
it. Like it's hard to offend me. And the other thing that bothered me because I was on the neighborhood app. Do y'all have that app, the neighborhood app where you talk to your neighbors or whatever? Well, anyways, I was on there and I noticed that normal people will think something's rude that's not. So this lady's like, I'm not because I wrote something about pit bulls because I don't think that like I have a weirdness towards dogs, but I wrote something about pit bulls and I said I don't think they should be around children. They have the not highest rate of killings among kids or whatever, maulings rather among kids. And this lady was like, not trying to be rude, but pit bulls don't. It's actually dog. And I'm like, why did you say not trying to be rude? Like, there's nothing rude about that. Like, you were just correcting me. And it's the same with my therapist. She kept going this morning. I had a therapy session. She kept going, there's no easy way to say this. Well, I don't know how to tell you this. Well, I'm trying to word this in a way that I'm like, just say it. Just don't even. I don't like when people. I think Denzel coined the phrase to me. I think it's euphemisms.
Hmm. Yeah,
I don't like when people try to beat around the bush or whatever. Just tell me directly. Don't even because if that's annoying when I can tell somebody's trying to really say something, but they're just like well, I kind of think it. No, ain't no kind of. You think that way. Just say it. You know what I mean? Because that's how I'm
Yeah,
gonna talk to you.
yeah, yeah. And I was gonna say that I know that Antonia Dodge said recently that one big indicator for me being quote unquote TI inferior is how much, and I mean it's extra because I'm a nine, but like how
Mhm.
much I just don't have the energy to debate. Where she said that higher TI,
Yeah.
like the higher TI is in your stack,
Mhm.
then the more energy that you have. So it's not even that lower TI doesn't have good logic,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
rather that they don't have they don't have enough ability to use it in a way that they can debate. And it's like what Joyce said, on top of the inability to like me, because I treasure my dynamics so much, then it's like, well, no, I'm just gonna avoid all of these things because
Yeah.
it's gonna mess with the vibes. It's gonna mess with, the relationship. So kind of like what I said with the euphemism, I I don't mind being a straight shooter with people,
Hmm.
but only if I can trust that they're not going to like get sensitive about it. Like Jamila is not
Yeah.
like entirely sensitive. Like
Hmm.
so take this with a grain of salt. Like she's actually really good at being able to like, be objective. But I think because as an FI Dom, like everything does just come as like, how does this affect me? What does this say about me? Kind of thing. Then every time I say anything to her, I do actually have to like make those like, all right, just so you know, or like, there's not
Hmm.
an easy way to say this, or all right, don't get mad. And so that
Yeah.
does like prepare her to like go from her instant instinct, like, what are you trying to say about who I am?
Hmm.
Whereas like if I'm talking to maybe someone like you, if I trust that, okay, you're not gonna be like sensitive, you're not gonna feel like I'm going to like I'm trying to hurt you and then you have to say something back to hurt me or
Hmm.
something like
Yeah.
that. Like Jamila, she plays around and she's like, well, Denzel, you're stupid and stuff like that. And it's
Yeah.
because she knows that, like, okay, yeah, I know that I have a tendency to be sensitive in that sense. So I appreciate, whatever. A lot of people,
Hmm.
they're not aware of that. But yeah, if I can trust that, like, you're not going to be sensitive, it's like, okay, cool, great. Because I mean, it's easier for me to be tactful than most people, sure, but it's still a little bit of work. And I'd rather just, sure, I can just say this, cool. So yeah,
Hey, I have a question for y'all.
yes.
I don't know how much I know about Enneagram, but when you're talking to me, what Enneagram type do I come across as a whole?
I have a few options. So I see 8, 2, 7, and 4. You like around that range.
What I find funny is I don't know if you believe in tri-type. I got Denzel's opinion on it, but my tri-type, I was type 278 professionally. So that's funny that you
Right.
said that.
Yeah.
What about you,
Yeah.
Denzel?
Yeah. I don't, I think that I mean, I can't help but obviously see you as like sexual too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that
yeah,
that's like, yeah, like, I think that
yeah.
you're right on point sexual too, in my opinion.
Okay,
But I
yeah.
can also see eight, which would make sense too, because two has
Disintegrates
movement
into
to
eight.
eight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even like using the words disintegrate and stuff like
Hmm.
that, just because of Beatrice Chestnut. Like she said that we're supposed to move both to where we disintegrate to and to where we integrate to. Like there's
Oh,
healthiness in going to the eight. I have to
oh.
learn more about her theory about that, but like
Mhm.
it's in her books too. Like, so she actually says to move first toward the thing that you disintegrate to, and then you come back and then you move toward the integrate thing because you learn from both of them. And that's also
Right.
part of why I don't really believe in tri-type, or even if I do believe in it, I don't think it's helpful because it's like there's enough
Yeah.
to just like within those three uh things. So I don't need the tri-type to be like, well, that's not my nine, that's my
Mhm.
five or something like that. It's like, no, maybe that is my nine. And I just have to give credit where it's due. But but yeah. But yeah, I could see seven tendencies for sure. And I
I'm
can
gonna
also
send
see
you an
eight.
audio message further about tri-types. I don't think I ever addressed that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or
Would
whatever.
love to. Got you.
Okay. Well, thank y'all. I don't have any
Yeah.
complaints. Like this was interesting. This was interesting. to say the least. Y'all a little too silent for me. It's a couple awkward moments, but other than that, yeah, that's
that's
dope.
yeah, that's also why I think you're an ESTP too. Just the uncomfortability with silence. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
there's inaction right now.
it's even like that in real life. Like sometimes my sister will be in her head, and I'll be like, "You didn't say anything." Like, and we'll get into it. Like, but it's because it's just weird. Silence is so awkward to me.
Because you're
Interesting.
an
I didn't
Yeah.
even think that we were having too much silence of moments. Like to me, I felt like this was pretty energetic. So
Well,
I'm
it was
I'm
okay, but I
surprised
mean,
that you
there
said
were
that it's
awkward
too silent.
moments here and there.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
sense any. Your FE
Did
must be
you,
better than
Joyce?
mine.
It's your SEFE, the extroverted sensing. It's very quick to notice delays and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
with my number one saying when I operate with my ESFP mom or my ESTP brother is slow down. They're always like, this is so awkward. This space is so awkward. It's like, where they're like, speed it up, come on. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I could see like why you said INTJ, but it's also like your SC is way too good to be an
I was
INTJ.
joking about that
Oh
entirely.
yeah,
I've never thought I was an INTJ.
okay, that's
I'm a prankster. I like to joke a lot. Denzel knew I was bullshitting.
good. Yeah, pranking is also highly associated with extroverted sensing. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I
just
thought that if you were pranking, that you would say something more absurd, like INFP.
No. So you didn't pick up on the bullshit either?
I did, and but then I was like, but why would she say INTJ and not INFP? But I was like, I'm pretty sure
Because
she's still playing
if I
around.
said ISTJ, y'all would already know too easy that it was a joke. But then if I said INTJ, it's like, is she really joking or is she
Okay,
serious?
yeah, yeah. I was wondering if it could be like a Jungian thing, like you were saying. Well,
No, I
I,
don't think I'm an INTJ. No.
okay.
yeah.
So even in Jungian terms, you agree that you'd be an ESTP, or would you say that you're still Jungian INFJ as well?
Like I said, when I circle around the beta quadra or whatever, even though that's a socionics term, I get it. But
Mhm.
NFJs and STPs, it was in the Jungian theory too that I couldn't make up my mind. So it really doesn't matter here either. You know what I mean? So that's why I said I'm gonna leave it up to y'all. Uh, I think I agree at the
Mhm.
moment.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna rejoin the MBTI community and be like, yay! Now I can join. Now I can start writing articles for Susan Storm about ESTP,
Yeah, yeah.
about being a
I
female
think
too.
I think you'd be a really good example for sure. Like, and if I mean, I'm like I said, I'm gonna send this to you, this recording, and I'm gonna even like save it for myself because this was nice getting to like know you. There was things that you
I hate
divulged that I did
myself.
not know.
I don't like watching myself.
Okay, then I'll just keep it. I won't post it anywhere. Like I said, I
I'll
promise.
look. Okay, I'll look at it and then I'll tell you if it's okay.
If it's okay to post,
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
it is. Yeah, yeah. I would
Why
send it
is
to
it
Jill.
cool?
Because you're a really good example of your type. And also, I have 2 minutes before I have to go, but I
Okay.
just wanted to let you know, Shalena, you're really, really, really pretty. I know, like, you don't like how you look, or you're very shy, or all of that stuff too. But me and Denzel, we type people all the time. Like, we've seen hundreds and thousands of people. You're like incredibly gorgeous, even if you don't believe.
Thank you. I need a BBL and different things done to my face, but thank you. I appreciate that. I really do because it's nice, Even if I don't agree, I appreciate it. I'm not going to debate you on that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's very like SC Dom to like to prank people through words too. I'll give you
Mhm.
like my brother's an ESTP, and this is what like this type of stuff he'll do to me. We'll be in his car, he'll be driving past a neighborhood, and he'll go like, Joyce, I'm gonna drop you down in Jane and Finch. So Jane and Finch in my area is that really shady neighborhood with a lot of crime and like a lot of
The
like
projects.
disturbing stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and he finds it funny where he's like putting the option there. It's like see how I'll react, and then he's like, "Nah, Joyce, I'm not gonna put you there. Don't worry."
Hey, I just wanted to briefly thank you for taking the time to watch this video, whether it was on regular speed or 2x speed, whatever it was. Just thank you for consuming the content. And around me, you should be able to see a few little buttons and logos for other recommended videos, because, you know, I make good content, new ones, but then I also have some really good old content too that you should probably check out. But make sure that if you really like this video, feel free to subscribe, to share. It really helps this humble channel to expand and reach more people and ultimately help more people. So once again, thanks for watching, and hope you have a great rest of your day.